Howdy, y'all. Today we're going to be talking about the limits of fiscal policy. What do we mean by limited by fiscal policy? Fiscal policies are implemented during times of economic boom or economic recession. However, it can usually take the government a long time to notice that there is a recession/economic boom occurring in the present. It can be very hard to see what's going on right here and right now in such a large country such as the United States. Therefore, the government might be late when approaching certain issues. Now, you may be asking the question, why would we want to prevent something or stop something such as an economic boom? This is because as economic booms keep progressing, they can eventually turn into something such as a recession and can just get very bad very quickly. Fiscal policies can sometimes be implemented with an educated guess using present information readily available. This can cause policymakers to have to decide what is best for the issue that is happening right now with whatever information they have readily available. Sometimes the severity of an issue can get worse by the time a decision is made or get better after a decision is made. Making and implementing fiscal policies can be very difficult for policymakers sometimes. Sometimes they just feel like they're going to do whatever is best for the country, and sometimes that can just be worse for the country overall. Time lags are periods of time when an economic imbalance is first recognized and acknowledged until a time that a chosen fiscal policy tool achieves its desired results. These can be organized into three further categories: information lags, formulation lags, implementation lags. Time lags may be so large that by the time the policy takes effect, the economy might have already corrected itself or have even started to face the opposite problem. Information lag. Understanding current economy and collection of data and confirming the trend can take time. Most policymakers do not even know that a recession/boom is currently happening, so they cannot act accordingly to prevent it from escalating any further. Information lags just mean the policymakers do not know what is happening right now, so they cannot or do not implement policies to the situation. Formulation lag is the time that it takes to decide and pass on legislation. Policy is not just an idea brought up and gets implemented tomorrow. The steps to have legislation passed include getting the bill drafted and introduced, proposed to Congress, it must get approved in the House of Representatives, then it must get approved by the Senate, and then it must get signed up by the president. Just because it gets through certain steps does not mean that the policy will get approved at every step. Some things take very long to get to the next step in the process. The policy can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months to a few years to get passed. And just because it maybe gets up to the president, it doesn't mean necessarily that he'll sign it off. Now that a proposed bill has been signed off by the president and gets further implemented, it can take some time for that policy to start taking effect in society. This can take a couple weeks to have government spending increase or tax cuts to take full effect on society. Just because a bill was signed yesterday does not mean that it will start improving the lives of people tomorrow. The CARES Act of 2020 provided fast and direct economic assistance for American workers, families, small businesses, and industries. This was implemented after the shutdown due to COVID-19 and after things started getting bad all over America. The CARES Act contains a number of health-related provisions focused on the outbreak in the United States, including paid sick leave, insurance coverage of coronavirus testing, nutrition assistance, and other programs and efforts. It also includes support for the global response. These efforts were to give a little compensation for those who were getting sick during the pandemic. The CARES Act was basically implemented and is an example of a time lag because, as we saw and as we all personally lived through, the coronavirus was not just cured overnight. It took a lot of time for many families to see improvement in their lives, for the pandemic to get controlled all over the world. And just because it's proposed right here, right now, doesn't mean that it's always going to start having a positive effect on everyone's lives the next day.